What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another video on the channel. We're not looking forward to a specific game week this week, or in this video I should say. This is going to be my 250,000 subscriber Q&A. So a few weeks ago we hit 250k, and then a few weeks ago I said I've got content planned every single day for like 6 weeks, right up until January 2nd, because obviously it's a busy period over Christmas, apart from today, because deadline stream was on Friday, knee jerks on Sunday, so there was no video planned for today. So I thought, what better day to put the Q&A out, right? And I've taken the Christmas decorations off the screen because I want to talk about why the players are up there in just a second, because that always gets asked, but I've put the Christmas jumper on instead because we are recording this in December, just in case you're watching this a little bit later on. So I basically split this up a bit like an FPL video with lots of different topics and then lots of different questions that I was asked, and I'll try and go through as quickly as I can, although there was a lot of questions. But first of all, let me talk quickly about the players on screen. So as with all Q&As, you're going to get people that are new to the channel that are asking questions that they haven't seen answers for before. So for some of you that have been watching a long time, you're going to have already heard some of this stuff, but there might be a few different things in there, and obviously I'm a bit further along in the journey as well. So really quickly, and basically this wall is not necessarily the best players in FPL. It always has to be someone that's in my team. So if a player's done really, really well and I haven't owned them, they'll pretty much never be up on this wall. So for example, Livramento, I haven't got any of his hauls this season, so he's not going to go up on here unless he starts smashing it for me. Lundstrom's not up on here either, because when he had his great season, I didn't own him for most of it. So Antonio is in because basically he scored 4 goals for me against Norwich. I was having an awful season, and he went and banged in 4 goals. And he was a bit of a differential back then. People weren't so impressed with him or so sure about having him in their teams. Like, it's different now. Back then, it wasn't the same. It's about 2 seasons ago. Bam, 4 goals against Norwich in 1 game. Happy days. Atsu was kind of a bit of a meme back when I first started, because he was in as an enabler. He was only like 5 million, and I needed him in the team to enable the rest of the team. And he got me a couple of attacking returns and stuff like that. So it just became a meme early on about having him in my team. His shirt could maybe be replaced at some point. Like, these days, I have an enabler like in Bomber, and I just constantly get ridiculed for it. Back then, it was a bit more of a kind of laugh that I had Atsu in the team. John Stones is in because he got 27 points in a double game week last year. Absolutely incredible. Baines is in because 1 week I was deciding between him and Coleman, and someone who may still watch the channel, but they definitely used to, Adam, he was at the ground and he said, I've seen the team sheet, and I had no reason to not believe him, because he is a legit source in the past. And he said, I've seen the team sheet, Baines is on there. So I bought him. Team sheet comes out, Baines isn't on there, and obviously the team sheet had changed since he saw it, because he sent me a photo, so it was legit at the time. And so we just laughed off, but he sent me, I've got somewhere in the office, he sent me a team sheet for that game signed by Coleman and Baines as well. So that's why Baines is on there. Jimenez is on there because he's just a legend. First season he was in the league, I kept him all the way through, even when some people sold him, and he absolutely smashed it. Dwight McNeil is on there because I bench booted in a single game week a couple of seasons ago, and he got me 14 points. Imagine that. Dwight McNeil for Burnley, 14 points. Should have been 17, by the way. If his assist from the corner, he basically, I think he crossed it in from a corner or something, defender headed it in, they didn't give it because as an assist because McNeil hadn't caused the own goal. I'm telling you now, if that happened right now this weekend, they would give it. So he should have got 17 points. And a couple of seasons ago, my team was hacked. I had to use a wild card. It was a really poor season. I was forced to use my wild card to cover the hits that have been taken, and that explains the hack t-shirt. So that's the reason for the players on the wall. I know I'm still going to get asked about it, but there we go. We've gone for it again. Let's get into some of the questions. So like I said, I went through all the questions and I put them into different categories. So if you want to skip through to a category you want to hear about more, there you go. Otherwise, I've kind of just listed it, just like if this was an FPL video, because why not? That's what I do, right? So this is all about being full-time FPL. Yes, this is my job. I make FPL videos for a living. I've only done it really on my own solo since the start of this season. Yes, it's kind of living the dream. Yes, I can't believe it either. Yes, my rank is 190k and I still get to kind of earn some money by making videos. It's great, right? So what made me go full time? I mean, one of the reasons was it was just financially viable to do it. Like, I'm not really much of a risk taker, and so I wanted to wait until the point where I kind of knew it was okay to do. Like, you know, some people are just like, do you know what, hate that job, jack it in, let's see what happens next. I always want to know what's coming next, right? Is there enough money to pay the mortgage? Is there enough money to pay other bills and stuff like that? So essentially that was it. There was like a few other reasons. So basically, like 2 years ago, maybe a bit longer, I used to work for EA in an office job. And I've been doing this channel on the side of that for like 5 years nearly. On the 30th of December this year, 2021, that'll be 5 years since I first made a video. And then I quit that to go and work at Fantasy Football Scout. And again, I carried on doing this channel alongside it. And I almost went full-time the season before, but I kind of had a bit of a wobble and backtracked and wasn't quite sure if the money was there. I wasn't quite sure if I was ready. But this season, that I just felt like, yes, I could cover all the bills. But also, there was times, especially last year, when things were going crazy with COVID and there was videos to be made. I was having to obviously do it for Scout, which makes sense, right? That was my job. That's absolutely fair. And then do my own stuff. And I just wanted to be able to do my videos when I wanted to do them. So it was kind of everything just came together and it just felt like the right time. So yeah, that's what made me go full time. It was viable and obviously I freaking love it. And yeah, living the dream right now. I'm going to say that a lot, I think. How am I adapting to full-time YouTube? I mean, I'm adapted, right? I love it. The fact that I've been doing it on the side for so long is great. It just means I get to spend a little bit longer on videos when I need to. It means I get to do a few other things if I need to as well. I think the adaptation from going from an office job at EA to working for Fantasy Football Scout from home and kind of managing their video content and then obviously doing mine, that was probably a little bit more difficult just because you kind of come from a lot of structure to not having much structure. So that kind of took a little bit of time to adapt to. But from going from managing my stuff and then obviously mostly Scout stuff from a job point of view to doing it on my own, super easy, right? I've adapted, love it, wouldn't change it unless I absolutely had to. This question always comes up in one way or another. Usually it's just, and there probably was a few people that said it like this, how much do you earn, right? How much do you earn from YouTube? This question was posed, is full-time YouTube financially rewarding? So ultimately, like I said before, I wouldn't be doing this if I couldn't pay all the bills. And ultimately, to me, something being financially rewarding just means I don't have to stress about money. Like, I don't have these aspirations to be like filthy rich, houses everywhere. I just don't care about that, right? I'm happy in the house I've got. Yeah, that'll do me, right? I don't have massive aspirations or ambitions to be super rich. But also, I do think money up to a point can stop. You don't want to be worrying about money. You don't want to be stressed about money. And that's the position I'm in. So we won't go into details about exactly how much everything earns. But money comes in from Patreon sponsorship and YouTube itself, obviously through ads and stuff on the videos. So I would say probably YouTube, then sponsorship, then Patreon in terms of kind of what earns the most or whatever. And that can differ at certain times as well. And look, if you do another YouTube channel like in a different genre, it might be different to FPL. You might earn more money, you might earn less. It's really difficult to say. If you did full-time FPL as a website content creator, like writing articles, or if you did podcasts, it probably works a bit differently. So if you go and look at most podcast Patreons, their kind of income is probably mostly through Patreon, whereas mine, Patreon's like the least of it. Obviously, it's still, I love it. I really appreciate the support over there, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea of kind of how it works a little bit different on YouTube. But financially rewarding, yes, for now. There's always that pressure that, if I don't turn up for work or I really don't want to make a video, I don't earn any money, right? So, yeah, YouTube is good, but obviously you're relying on someone else's platform, YouTube, and you're also relying on FPL to keep going, right? To be able to do it. But for now, I'm loving it. I don't see why I would change anytime soon. And as long as the money's there to pay the bills and I can keep doing it as a job, that's enough for me, really. What's work-life balance like compared to an office job? Better, I would say, because I can kind of do what I want. I'm my own boss, and that doesn't mean I'm off doing like really fun stuff every day, like almost never, to be honest. But if you need to pop into town or you need to go and do something, you can just get up and do it. You can leave a video rendering, go and do whatever you need to do, come back, and then it's done. You upload it, do all the other bits you need to do. But what I would say is with an office job, at least the job I had, although sometimes I did like work on a weekend or did check in from home, most of the time you finish on Friday, you're done till Monday. With FPL, I'm always thinking about it. It's very hard for me to switch off. If I'm watching a football game and something's happened from an FPL point of view, I'll tweet about it. And that doesn't feel like work, but I guess really it kind of is, because I'm building up my Twitter profile. That helps me get followers. That helps push people to YouTube. So in a roundabout, I don't think of it as work, but it is. Like if you ask my partner, she'll tell you, like I almost never switched off from FPL. So most people would say that's probably not healthy. I don't really feel it like a strain or anything like that or get stressed about it. So it depends how you look at it. I would say in general it's better, but in some ways it's probably not. Will you do FPL content throughout your lifetime? I always, like this question is like, I know people are saying like, can you really do FPL till you're like 70 or 80? Like think about what job you're in right now. Do you think about whether you're still going to be doing that at 50, 60, 70? I don't know. Maybe some people do, right? Some people have like life plans for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I just do it now, see how long it keeps going for, and see what I feel like in a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. At some point, I might just think, right, I'm sick of talking about transfers and captaincy, but it's just not like that. And I do think, I've said this before, it's very hard to fake it, right? I come on and I enjoy making videos. I enjoy talking about FPL. So I've got no plans to kind of stop doing it. I'd love to branch out into some other stuff alongside it. If I can get down like a good, efficient work routine where I can stream maybe some games or make some video content about football or life or anything. But in terms of stopping FPL, I don't really have any plans to do that. Do I have any plans to do it till I'm like 16? No. I mean, maybe it'll be weird to hear me sitting in like a few years. I won't say exactly how long, but at 60 talking about green arrows and red arrows, maybe it would be, but who knows, right? How much is things going to change in the next 20, 30, 40 years? So, yeah. The answer is I don't know, and it doesn't particularly worry me either, to be honest. What do you think differentiates your channel? I don't know if it's massively differentiated. Like if you go differentiated, like if you go to other people's channels, like everyone's doing very similar content, right? We're talking about who to buy, who to sell, who to captain, this injury news, and all that kind of stuff. And I still kind of suffer from like imposter syndrome, to be honest, where I don't really feel like I'm good enough to have the amount of followers that I do. Like I think, right, that content, was it actually that good? And then people like it, right? They're literally liking it. They're commenting to say it was decent or whatever. And I'm still thinking, was it? So I think the reason I think it's kind of taken off and done well is because I've been massively persistent with it. Like I've been going for nearly 5 years. I think nowadays it's probably a lot easier to, there's at least kind of a platform now to create FPL content a bit more than it was when I started. Not to say it's easy to get kind of to be successful now, because it's not. But there is more of a platform there. There's also more FPL managers as well, right? So there's more of an audience now than there was 5 years ago. If anything, it's probably like doubled or something like that. But throughout the years, I was very persistent, very consistent as well. And I think just hard work. I typical British person, right? Don't want to talk about yourself in a positive way. But I've always had the attitude that unless something major happens, I will be there every single game week. And I've had that attitude for 5 years. I will make that video that I kind of promised, right? And there's probably times when I've started a video series or something and I've stopped doing it. But for the most time, I started with one stream, then moved to 2, then 2 streams plus a video, and then it just went up and up and up. And I made sure that I did them every single week. Obviously, with the quick turnarounds now that we're coming into, you can't always make every video every week. But I'm there every single game week. And I've always had that attitude. Even if it meant like 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, being up to editing videos or whatever, putting content out. I've barely missed a game week. Even when I've had internet issues, I've always found ways around it to make sure that I'm there. That's always been my attitude to, look, when things are slow, when things are quiet, if it's like a break, like January break for FA Cup or whatever, yeah, you take a bit of time off or you don't make out as many videos. But when the season's busy, when it's in a busy period like Christmas, pre-season, you are there making as many videos as is needed. And that's kind of been my attitude. And I think that consistency and always being there has kind of helped. Hopefully people like the way I talk, personality or whatever. If you don't, obviously you don't watch, right? But yeah, I think in some ways just hard work and consistency has kind of helped me out along the way. And I've always tried to improve as well as I've gone, whether it's speaking, how I've produced the videos, what the graphics look like or whatever. I'm always trying to make them a little bit better. With FPL being your job, have you become more emotionally invested in it? Not really, to be honest. What's one thing you miss about previous jobs? Not a lot, really, if I'm honest. Like office jobs, just don't miss it at all. I guess some of the people, right, that you worked with, like it was nice to have some interaction, but don't really miss it, if I'm honest. I'm okay with my own company. So I don't really miss it, to be honest. Do you think there's still a stigma attached to being a YouTuber? A YouTuber, as a lot of people put it. Not that this person did, but and does it bother you? Yes, there is, because people just don't understand it still, even though it's been around for ages, even though kids just want to be YouTubers, they want to be content creators. There's still plenty of people that don't understand it. It's not a real job. It's easy work and stuff like that. And every time someone says that to me, like, it's really easy what you do. You just get up, you make a video about FPL, and that's it. All I'll say is try and do it, try and make it successful, and see how long it takes you. If you think it's that easy, go and do it, right? So there is still a stigma, but does it bother me? I couldn't really care less. If people think it's weird or it's not a proper job, who cares, right? I feel like I am literally, like I said, living the dream right now. So there are a few questions about other content creators, either FPL or otherwise. So which YouTubers did I watch before I was a content creator? So I hadn't really talked about how I got into it, although I have talked about that before. I've always had a bit of an obsession with YouTube, like how people kind of have income or work as YouTubers. I've always kind of wanted to do that, and before it was all about gaming. Like I really wanted to be like a gaming streamer or a gaming YouTuber, and I did try my hands at different things. I used to have a Final Fantasy 14 channel, for example, which I think is still live. I won't link to it. If you can find it, fair play. So I watched a lot of gaming YouTubers. I used to watch like Tabes and C-Nanners and stuff like that for when Call of Duty was first thing on YouTube as well. Hutch, people like that. I guess more when I started this channel, be people like Spencer FC, True Geordie as well. In fact, like they're two of the people that early on I kind of like looked up to for different reasons. So I like the fact that True Geordie could just get up and speak on a camera like I'm doing now, right, without pausing, without having to do cuts and stuff. He used to do that quite a lot. It probably still does it quite a lot now. So I always like the way he presented to the camera. And Spencer was always very consistent with the quality of his videos, always family friendly as well, right? Which it's not that I don't watch content where people swear and stuff like that, and it doesn't bother me. And I think if you want to do that, then you absolutely should. But I always thought that was probably a good way to go about kind of growing and working with brands and stuff like that. So they are kind of two of the YouTubers I used to watch quite a lot. I mean, I still watch them now. Obviously, Spencer's doing different stuff now. It's more like hashtag and all that kind of thing. And obviously, True Geordie's doing loads of different content, the kickoff and whatnot. And I still now, it's different now. It's not necessarily the presenting side from that. It's just the production of like everything he does is so good. I'd love to get to that level. So they're the kind of YouTubers I watched then and now. I also watch like a lot of bodybuilders and fitness people like Josh Bridgman, Will Tennyson, people like that. Who's the other? Chris Bumstead as well, like Mr. Olympia. Do you know what I love about bodybuilding YouTubers? Because they're trying to eat so much, but they're trying to stay healthy. They always have good ways of making food taste good. That's what obviously I'm far off being a bodybuilder, but I kind of like watching their videos. I like watching their content. Do you see other FPL content creators as rivals, or would you be more of a friendly community? I think generally pretty friendly. What I find is, especially now I'm doing it full time, because I'm doing FPL all day, right? And it's not just making videos. It's like I'll go out, I'll go to my gym. The gym owner is asking me about FPL. I've got people on WhatsApp asking me about FPL. Then all the Patreon stuff as well to do. Like you don't then want to spend all evening doing FPL as well. So that's why like I try and kind of not be on like all like loads of other podcasts and channels and stuff like that every single week, because I would just get sick of it, and I think that's not good for them either to have someone. It's not that I don't want to be there, it's just that when you've done FPL for like 7 days straight, bearing in mind like if it's a normal game week, I'll do content Saturday to Saturday, a video every single day. It's why I don't necessarily go on loads of other stuff. But that's not like a rivalry thing. It's not like I'm worried about like trying to help them out with more followers or stuff like that. It's just like it's kind of like a work-life balance thing for me now. So I go on sometimes, but at certain times like Christmas, there's just no way you'll probably see me on any other channels because it's just so busy, and I just don't want to do extra FPL stuff in the evening because that's kind of my free time, right? But in general, the FPL community is really friendly. Like I've worked in other like gaming communities, and I can tell you now they're usually much worse. You're always going to get idiots when you get lots and lots of people, especially as FPL continues to grow. But in general, it's pretty good. You can block and mute and unfollow those people anyway, right? How many content creators were there before you? I guess this is FPL specific. I don't want to cause any offense if I miss anyone out, but I didn't really watch FPL YouTube before I started making videos. The only thing I ever really watched was the Scoutcast on Fantasy Football Scout with like Mark and Granville before I was on there. That's kind of how I started doing FPL content anyway. So I think like FPL Tips obviously is the OG. I think like JNO FPL Today was maybe around before me. Otherwise, I'm not really sure who else was there. They're probably like FPL TV. For a while, we were kind of like getting bigger together. And then he just went and absolutely smashed it and got to 100k way before me. But I don't know if he was making videos before I was. I'm not really sure. I just don't really watch a huge amount else. So I don't really know who else was there before. There's probably a lot of people. Obviously, there's loads more now. Will you be doing collabs with other YouTubers? Hopefully, yeah, at some point. Which non-FPL content creators do you watch? Kind of just mentioned True Geordie Spencer, all those like bodybuilders, stuff like that. You also I always go down like a black hole of YouTube. You click on one thing and then your homepage just populated, and I just keep watching loads and loads of it. Like right now on my homepage is loads of Dragon's Den reruns. I just love the comments. If you like Dragon's Den, go and check them out on YouTube and watch the comments. Jenny just never ever invests. Alright, so there was loads of questions about making videos, right? Some of the FPL specific, some of it not. Always get asked, what equipment do I use? I mean, what I would say is I think people have too much of a hang up about the exact equipment. Just get yourself a mic, get yourself a webcam and start making videos, right? Yes, they won't be perfect. Yes, they won't be as good quality as other people do. But as you get better and better, as your channel gets bigger, as you maybe start making some money from it, you can start improving the amount of equipment you have. Like, you don't need what I have now to start making YouTube videos. But just really quickly, so I've got this Shure MV7 mic. It's really good. I used to have a Blue Yeti for 10 years or something when I used to do gaming videos and stuff as well. This is like a Rode mic arm. I got two Elgato lights to light the kind of room. I got the green screen obviously as well, which is Elgato one. I got 3 screens, which to be honest, I would find it really hard to work without 3 screens now. It's very good for productivity. And I think that's about. I've got like a Stream Deck. I never use it. The only thing I use it to do is this: turn the lights off and turn the lights back on. That's all I use it for. And my webcam is now a DSLR. It's like a Sony A5100. But again, I used to have just a Logitech webcam for years and years. So you don't need all this stuff to kind of start making videos. But that's what I have now. How do you plan your weeks as regards to uploads? In a normal week, like Saturday to Saturday, so game week 1 Saturday, game week 2 next Saturday, all the content is very similar, right? And as part of being consistent, people know what to expect and when to expect it. Most of my stuff is at the same time. Usually, sometimes, like deadline streams might change a little bit and I might be late sometimes, but most of the content throughout the week is at 2 o'clock. That's just the standard time I've been doing for a while. You've got deadline stream on Saturday, knee-jerk Sunday, watch list, transfer tips, team selection, game week preview, final thoughts / captaincy, something like that, and then another deadline stream, right? So the content, I don't really need to plan it because it's always there and there's always something to talk about from what's happened at the weekend. People are asking questions, people getting injured. There's always something to talk about, which is really handy. In a time when it's like super busy, like Christmas, I'll have like a calendar of what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it, but it still gets changed around, right? Even like last time there was a quick turnaround, I changed a bit of content around what I'd originally planned because it just fit better. But that's how I knew that today, when this goes out on Saturday, there was no other content plan, hence planning to do a 250k Q&A instead, right? So that's how I do it. Is there anything specific you do before going on camera? Not really. I mean, most of the what I find now is that work-life balance, because I'm always thinking about FPL, a lot of my thoughts around what people want to know about, like they want to know my opinion on a transfer or a player or something like that, I've already got most of the information in my head. Sometimes I might need like some stats and stuff, and I'll write some notes down like on a Google Doc or something like that and have it alongside. But a lot of the times I don't do that these days because I just find like I can just talk to the camera and I've got... It's not that I'm trying to wing it. It's just that I've already thought about it, right? I already know from research who's got good fixtures coming up, which players we should be looking at getting, etc. So like for anyone that's kind of watching just after the last game week, the previous deadline for game week 15, I kept saying to people, Bowen, he's the one to get soon, blah, 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 bam, he gets points, now everyone's looking to get him in. And I'm not saying I called him first, but you just kind of already know these things are about to happen. You know that West Ham are about to have a good fixture, and you then know who the best options are, and it doesn't really change that much. So there's not really like huge note-taking. Like I've pretty much... From making the graphics, I've already done the research, if that makes sense. I always have some water nearby, even though people sometimes complain about like mouth noises or stuff like that. Sometimes it's just hard to get rid of. And 2 other things I do. If I haven't showered, if I'm recording really early, I always wash my hair before I go on, just so my hair's not super messy. And I always try and have a different top to the last video. So even on days where I record more than one video in a day, which doesn't happen a lot because with FPL it's really hard to do because you've got to wait for what's happened and the news and the injury updates before you can do it. I always try and change my top. So for the Eagle Eye, I've got a red t-shirt under here. That's what I did for Game Week 16 captaincy. So I put the jumper on to record this video because it's going out tomorrow, and I'll probably have a different top on for the deadline stream later on as well. But other than that, not a lot of other stuff. How many hours do you spend on your FPL channel? So that's everything, planning, recording. It's hard to put a number on it because, like I said, I'm always thinking. So the other day I had to watch a match on a stream instead of on my TV. So I was up in my office on the computer watching it. And so I had Google Docs open. And I thought, right, I've got to do a watch this video tomorrow, transfer tips on Tuesday. And this was getting towards the end of the game week. So most of the games were finished. So I just wrote a few notes of which players I was going to talk about and then why I was going to talk about them. So in that, like, I wouldn't count that because I'm just doing it while watching a game, but it is still work. And that's where the kind of crossover and not being able to switch off kind of like not takes its toll, but that's why it's very hard to put a number on exactly how long it takes. Sometimes videos can be really quick. Like team selection, if there's only one transfer to make, it's fairly quick, right? I can just talk through my defence, midfield, forwards. Here's the transfer. It's pretty much going to happen unless this happens. That's it. That doesn't take long to set up. It doesn't take that long to record. Funnily enough, it's also always the most viewed video, by the way. Other videos which get viewed less take longer to do. So it really depends. I couldn't put a number on it. I probably don't want to know, to be honest. These are kind of the same. How do you not get bored of making videos all the time, and how do you find the motivation? Look, there are days where sometimes I've got to make a video and I just don't really want to. The motivation comes from the fact I need to do it to kind of, you know, keep on my game, keep people coming back watching, and ultimately I need to make videos to sustain life, right? To earn money, to pay bills and stuff like that. So that's kind of the motivation. How do I not get bored? I just love it, and like I said, I think it's hard to fake it, and I hope that comes across. Like don't get me wrong, if I've had another really bad week and I've got to do another knee-jerk stream and I've got to listen to people telling me how bad I am and how rubbish I am, and like, you know, you've kept in Bomber, you've kept Saka, stupid moves and stuff like that, then sometimes like it'd be nicer to do something else. But that's part of the job, right? You've got to take those bad game weeks on the chin, and that's what I said. I'll always be there every single Sunday on the knee-jerk stream as long as it fits in with the game week. I will be there to listen to the good and listen to the bad, because that's just how it goes, and I enjoy doing it. So I don't get bored because I like what I do. I don't want to be like really cheesy, say if you like what you do, it's not really work, because it still is work, and there are still days where I don't want to do it. But those days are very few and far between. So, yeah, I don't get bored. And if I did, I'd maybe just try and do something else instead at some point, right? Who knows what happens in the future? There's no point worrying about it now if things are going well. Biggest learning curve as a creator? I don't really know, because I think people learn at different speeds and they have different skills. What I would say, if I go back in time, is just don't worry about building too fast. Like if you're starting here, you don't... Where are my hands? If you're starting here, you don't need to be like here next week, right? You can be here, then here, then here, then here, then here, then here, like every week or whatever, or every month, right? You can improve something. So I think nowadays people just want to be at the top straight away, or be in a position where they can go full time straight away, and it just doesn't happen that quickly. So just keep building it up, keep improving. Like I said, the improving could be how you talk on camera, your graphics, it could be the equipment you have. You don't need to get it all at once. It's taken me a long time to get to where I am now, like nearly 5 years to go full time, and that is just the reality. There's no real quick fix for it, to be honest. How do you structure your days on days you create content? So I do really, really like routine. I kind of fall apart without it. So, and generally, again, and this all depends on the time of year, but on a week to week, you know, game week on Saturday, during the week, Monday to Friday, it's pretty much always the same. Get up, walk the dog, come back and shower, make the video, go to the gym whenever the video is finished, however long it takes, come back, make sure the video is going to go live or whatever, uploaded, and then do whatever else needs to be done. It could be notes for other videos, it could be getting back to email, doing stuff on Patreon, writing an article, doing sponsorship stuff, whatever it is, that kind of usually gets done in the afternoon. And then rinse and repeat, basically. Having that kind of gym session to kind of mix things, or to kind of separate the first part of the day to the second, is great. And it's almost like lunch break. I just kind of make my lunch and just eat it straight away and then get back to work. So going to the gym kind of gets me out of the office. And that is kind of it. That's how I structure the day. And again, sometimes if on days where I just really don't want to be making a video, it just takes longer. That's all. I still got to get it done at the end of the day. How do you manage the days you don't want to do anything? You just get through it. Like I said, it might, like if a video takes you 2 hours to record or however long it is, on a day you really don't want to do it, it might take a bit longer than that. But yeah, ultimately, I do sometimes remind myself just how good I've got it. Like, it's not that I'm like, oh, I just really hate doing FPL videos. You just have those days where you sometimes wake up and you just like, I just want to do something else. Like, today is just not the day I want to get in front of a camera. And you kind of just remind yourself, no, do it, because you'll feel better once you've done it, and then tomorrow won't be as bad. And by the way, you're doing FPL YouTube full time, so just get on with it. Okay, so there were some questions around FPL, the game, right, in general. So with more people playing each year, where do you see FPL going? So obviously, the thing is that there are a lot more people now, so it's much harder to get a higher rank. And along with there being more people, there's also way more content creators, right? There's always new podcasts, new FPL channels on YouTube, new websites, new article creators, new Twitter accounts creating content, people on Instagram as well, right? There's always more people. So in some ways, those people, I'm sure like a lot of us have helped people stay engaged, right, with FPL, and that has helped build them up. But also, like, the Premier League is just so big now as well that I do see it continuing to grow. I'm not saying it's going to keep growing as big as it has, like at the rate it has, but I don't really see what's going to slow it down. It's just getting more and more popular. And look, some people always think it's a game with 8 million plus people, why are there not better prizes and stuff? The game is just super simple, super accessible, and that's why it does so well. That's why so many people watch. So I just see that continuing to happen. Look, maybe at some point it might just get so frustrating that there's so much content that people just aren't missing stuff anymore. Like when I first started, I used to use Fantasy Football Scout. That was really the only... There was other websites, but that was the main one people used. And so if there was like an out of position defender or a really cheap option, only a select few of you would know about it if you were on that site. Most people that were playing just wouldn't know. These days, it's very hard to like find a differential for very long because they score, they do well, everyone's got the stats, everyone's made a video, everyone's made a podcast, there's loads of tweets, loads of Instagram, everyone knows about that player. So I could see some people who've played a long time maybe start to drop off, but I do think it's just going to keep growing for a while. Like if you want to create content, there's no better time to do it. Just get going, right? At some point they might mix it up. Different bonus point structure. They might give defensive midfielders points for tackles and stuff like that, like the Sky games do. But I do think they want to keep it simple because that is the easiest way to get people playing, right? So in terms of any changes I'd make, there's not really a huge amount. I don't really see too much wrong with the game. I'm kind of that kind of person. Like if something's not broken, I'm not really looking to fix it, right? Could FPL be better? Probably. Is it bad? No. So do I care about making changes? Not really, to be honest. Like the Cup, I'd love to do that idea I said where you get a new free hit team every single week just to make it a bit more engaging. FPL could create content around it. Content creators could create content around it. But ultimately, there's not too many big things wrong with FPL, in my opinion. The next few I've not really thought about too much because I thought if I think about it too much, I'll just overthink it. So I'm going to go off the cuff. Favourite FPL player, I'm going to say Antonio. I love the guy. Been on him for a while, even before he's like super popular. The 4 goals against Norwich, brilliant. Favourite FPL memory, apart from the 4 goals against Norwich for Antonio, the one that sticks out in my mind is I bought Alfie Mawson for Swansea for a hit before he played Leicester. I got a bit of stick for it, and he ended up I think it was a volley or a half volley in a goal in the penalty area. Bashed it in the goal. I was watching the game, and in the end, he didn't keep a clean sheet, I don't think, but the points hit worked out, and I always remember that because I got some stick before I did it. Most overhyped player, I'm going to say in recent years, I think Luca Dean. Like Everton, like he's always like he's due a big haul, and he just never gets it. It's maybe a little bit hard. He is a good player. But just Everton obviously haven't been in a great place in recent times. Most underrated player, I don't really know, to be honest. I'm not sure who's underrated. There's probably some I can't think of it. And favourite Christmas FPL memories. The one that sticks out is just like, classic FPL where you're just really unsure about 2 captain options, who to go for. This one was between Tevez and Van der Vaart. And like all the gap between the game weeks, it's just like, who do we go for? This reason for Van der Vaart, this reason for Tevez. Just don't know who to go for. And this was back when like power 5 midfielder was great. Van der Vaart, Bale, I can't remember who else would have been in there, but there was a power 5 midfield, and obviously Tevez up front for Man City. And in the end, they both got 16 points. Absolutely smashed it on Boxing Day. Big green arrow. So yeah, that's probably one of my favourite memories, because it was a really good game week. And it was like, if you'd captained one of them and they didn't play first, it was like a bit of a nightmare, but in the end they both got 16 points. So happy days all around, lovely Christmas memory. And then we had all the stuff that kind of didn't go into another category, so I just grouped it under a very clever name of random. Okay, so let's try and quick fire some of these. Where am I located? In Galway, in Ireland. What do you do besides managing the channel? Not a whole lot in terms of jobs and stuff like that. This is my main job. Like, I like to play games and stuff like that. I'd love to stream one day, but right now FPL is kind of the main thing. Moved to Galway for work. Used to work at Curry's in the UK. Didn't like it at all. And then one of my friends that I used to work with there suddenly posted that they were working for EA, and I was like, how the hell did that happen? They told me, they said they were looking for jobs. It was an 11-month contract, and I'm not really one of those people to kind of just jack it in, but I'll just go there for 11 months and see what happens, and then nearly 10 years later I'm still here. So that's why I moved over, and obviously got family and stuff here now, house, so I'm not really planning on moving anytime soon. Will I be doing gaming videos? Probably not videos, maybe streams at some point. But I just don't like, and I've done this already on Twitch, like doing one stream, then you can't stream again for like 2 weeks. I want to be consistent. I need to try and work it out, but it's hard with all the FPL stuff that's going on, right? And obviously I don't want that to kind of become second thing, right? That is the main priority. What's your current workout regime and how disciplined are you? So for anyone that watched my other channel when I talked about this, I am disciplined for a time, and then it just, certain things happen and it just goes like really bad. Like right now, I'm doing really good headspace, really good with the food. If I have a bad day, don't care. Next 3, 4, 5 days are all good, and it just counteracts it, right? So having one bad day is not a problem. I just sometimes go through like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bad days in a row, maybe months. So really good now, but obviously got to get through Christmas. And the other side of Christmas is always the hardest, because you do eat more over Christmas, that's fine. I always struggle then to get back into good habits. And obviously it's January, it's not the greatest month. So I need to wait and see. I'm disciplined at times, but not all the time. But literally, day of recording this on Friday, I've just done my 4th gym session of the week. So I do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And that is 4 weeks in a row where I've been progressing up the weights. I've not missed a single session. I've hit all what I needed to do. Not had any injuries or anything like that. So I'm really, really happy about that. You know, things are the weights are going up, the reps are going up. So it's good. And I'm basically doing upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, then rest on both weekend days. So it's going well. Coffee or tea, neither. Hate them both. I pretty much just drink water and Coke Zero throughout the day. Ronaldo or Messi? I'm going to say Messi. Love Ronaldo. Been at Man United twice, right? Should really say him, but just Messi's just on another planet, isn't it? And I think Ronaldo is brilliant, and if Messi hadn't been around, there'd be no dispute that Ronaldo has been the best over the last kind of 10, 15 years, but Messi is just the things he does with the football are just crazy. Ronaldo, obviously a ridiculous goal scorer. When we hit 1 million subscribers, maybe never. I mean, I think it's going to be hard for an FPL channel to do that. It's also going to take a long time, like 5 years to get to 250k. Obviously, when you got more subscribers, you tend to sometimes, like on other non-FPL genres, like other YouTubers, you sometimes start to grow a bit quicker. But with FPL, there's a very, unless you're like top 10 or like world number 1 or something like that, subscribers tend to like grow quick at the start of the season, then it really drops off. So unless I can become world number 1 or like top 10 or something like that anytime soon, it's going to be hard to get to 1 million subscribers. It's going to be years, maybe another 5+ years, maybe, like I said, maybe never, who knows. Which subscriber milestone shocked you the most? I don't really remember all of them, but I think 100k in some ways felt better than 250k, because then you hit 6 figures, you get your plaque. It's such a big number. And to be honest, when I started out, I didn't expect anything from this. So hitting 1k, 5k, 10k, they all meant a lot. And I still can't really believe that so many people are subscribed. I'm still not sure why, but I'm grateful. And if FPL didn't exist, how would you spend your time? I don't know. I've been playing it for so long, I don't even know. I mean, I play a lot of video games. I love Call of Duty, sometimes FIFA. So maybe just do more of that, probably. I don't really know. It's hard to say because it's been in my life so long. I just don't know what else I would do. I'd find something though. I've always wanted to kind of run my own business, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I just never knew exactly how or what I wanted to do it in. So I guess, you know, I probably would have found a different way to kind of make money on the side and then hopefully build it into something bigger, which is what I've done now, basically. So there we go. That is it for this one. Thank you very much to everyone that's liked, everyone that's watched, everyone that's commented, everybody that's subscribed to get us to what is now 254,000 subscribers. Absolutely mad. We're going to push for 300k next season, maybe 350, who knows. And at some point, hopefully 1 million, but I think that is going to take a very long time. But to be honest, I don't even care. I don't need 1 million subscribers. I am very happy with the position I'm in right now, getting to do this pretty much every single day. Like I said, it is kind of living the dream. I'm loving it. Yes, I can't believe it either. Yes, it's sometimes easy, but also definitely not easy at times as well. But you should try it. If you think it's something you can do, if you think it's easy, make sure to give it a go. It's very easy to create a YouTube channel. To make it successful is probably a little bit more harder, more difficult, but you just got to work at it. You just got to be consistent for a long period of time, and then hopefully the rewards will come. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be back for anyone that's watching like on the day this comes out. I'll be back tomorrow with FPL stuff for Game Week 17. Otherwise, I'll leave it there. Thanks once again for subscribing. Hit it if you haven't already. Also that like button, and I'll catch you again soon.